Welcome back. I wanted to give you some resources that I use for, sorry, I have to put my cat on the floor. Resources that I use on a regular basis to keep up with genre, in addition to all the website sources that I use. First and foremost, please always, check to see what's being recommended. If you belong to a professional association, or you go onto the ALA site or Libraries Unlimited, or you talk with friends, jot down what they suggest. You may not be able to afford to purchase it, but you may be able to get it from a library and at least take a look at it. So I had already told you about Teen Genre Reflecting, which is a required book that I always assign for the class because I just think it's so simplistic to understand teens and genres from Harold's viewpoint. I think she's top-notch. The second person that I really recommend, and this book is just great because it's divided into genres: adventure and survival, romance. It's got great synopsis. It's very simplistic. Tells you how many pages, tells you what age group, and gives you then a plot summary and a little reader's annotation. But it's called 500 Great Books for Teens, and it's by Anita Silvey. It was published much more recently than Harold's 2003 Teen Genre Reflecting. It was published in, I'm sorry, I get these two mixed up, 2006. So it's a little bit more current. But on the same level, the titles of the books in both are really very relevant for even Reader's Advisory and recommending today. Another book that I will recommend to you, which is a fun little book, it's by Nancy Pearl, and I think everyone knows who Nancy Pearl is, so I'm not going to go into who she is. She's a very cool person, and she has put this little book crush for kids and teens together, and this is a 2007 copyright. And inside of it, she's got Fractured Tales, she's got School Days. Her genres are a little different, but they kind of take all those little subgenres, and they look at the big picture for genre, like like supernatural, and then they cut and slice them like Herald subcategories. Except that it's a tiny little book, and it's really recommended reading for kids and teens. These other two are much more along the lines of librarians to teens. I think Nancy Pearl has put together a really nice little book for kids and teens, and of course librarians. No lecture I do on YA genre or YA in any terms could I leave out Dr. Joni Bodar's works. And Radical Reads is, along with her book talking books, Radical Reads is one of my favorites. Not only does it have cutting edge in realistic fiction, genre fiction, it also gives you book talking ideas. It gives you the major themes and ideas so that you can develop lots of collaborative things with school librarians should they need your help on developing something for a curriculum piece that they're doing. It outlines the characters. It tells you the warnings, I'm going to say the risks of using the book. It tells you its strengths, reviews, awards, just all kinds of valuable information. It is a super, super, super book. And this one is 2002. There's a new Radical Reads that will be coming out probably, I think, by spring of 2010, if not earlier. So watch out for that. But realize that realistic fiction is very, very popular. It's one of the more popular genres that you're going to run into. So how do we look at being able to purchase everything? Can we have every genre in juvenile fiction and nonfiction? Because there are genre categories to nonfiction as too: historical fiction, adventure, survival. There's realistic, like It by David Pelkey. Not David. Is it David Pelkey? I'm sorry, that was a brain dead thing. That's probably not right. But what you do need to do is that balance. That if you've taken collection development, you understand balance. Dollars, demographics, usage, balancing so that you're offering a good, solid collection. So let's just say that you buy bits and pieces. But you notice that there's an awful lot of popular realistic fiction need. There's mystery and suspense. If you're in a school library, curriculum's going to drive what you purchase. Are you going to buy a lot of fantasy and science fiction in a school library? You are in a public library because it's going to be very, very popular. So there's all kinds of collection development questions to ask yourself as you look at genres. And not just that you don't like a genre, so you're only going to buy, 25% of what you would buy over here based on your bias. You need to look at a bigger question, which is, what are your patrons wanting? Now, with teens, is that going to be an easy thing to figure out? Well, if you are offering great teen services, it may be. If you're doing a lot of outreach to the schools and you've got a good collaboration where you're book talking at the school and the kids are coming in to do homework and you have space for displays and you've got a real nice teen environment going. Now let's say on the opposite end of the coin you don't have a good teen environment, you've got a tiny little space, you're going to be making much different decisions about what you're buying. But bottom line to me on genres for teens is to always buy balance. Try and have a little bit of everything, and then know your audience and have a bit more of those genres that are going to circulate. So, will the Twilight phase continue? Well, we don't know, because when I was in a school library, Blood and Chocolate was a really popular book. It's about werewolves, but it was very popular. We had a lot of teens that came in to get, Interview with a Vampire after the Tom Cruise movie and Brad Pitt movie came out. So there's a need to think about what is going to be popular. Now, Westerns. I always have librarians say, why would I want to have Westerns for teens? Well, there probably is an audience for Westerns, might be small, but you don't know until you buy a few things that are highly recommended. You could use Harold's book or Sylvie's book to look at what you need to buy. You could go onto the YALSA pages. You could go onto the award winners. You could go into a bookstore and just spend an hour looking at teen fiction. See what's hot out there in adult land for nonfiction. There's a lot of teen boy readers, at least in my experience, that really like that nonfiction element in a teen collection. And so I'll look for survival and adventure. Alive was very popular in my library. Couldn't keep it on the shelf. It was another one. The Krakauer, books, Into Thin Air. So those crossovers. Make sure you understand adult genres fit right in with teen genres most of the time, and so there's a way to create a really nice little crossover environment as well. I'm going to get into some specific authors in a few minutes, and we'll continue with that in part 3. Thanks.